Hey, how's it going, folks? My name is Brian, and today I will be presenting my usability project for English 407B technical writing. This was a 2-week project because I am taking this course in the summer of 2019. I would assume that this project would take more time in a normal semester, probably a month, but since I'm very limited to what I can do, this is an academic project. I'm not going to see anybody from Newegg who are going to take this seriously, hopefully. But the problem with this is that the testing phase of this project was made up. The data was made up just for the sake of this project. I try to be as realistic as possible. I wouldn't know. It's kind of hard. But yeah, this is for academic purposes. Don't take it to the extent where this needs to be sent to Newegg, hopefully. So let's begin. The way this PowerPoint is laid out is, well, number one, this is a condensed version of my report. If you want to get more information, just read my usability project report. I'm going to start with the usability project goals, about Newegg, the X and Y, female shoppers, PC gaming, benchmarking websites usability, benchmark results, and end on the website analysis. So the way I lay out my report and this presentation is to be as logical as possible. I'm going to start off with Newegg for the people out there who don't know what Newegg is all about. So background information, statistics. Then I will talk about the research. Now, for the sake of this presentation, there is a part of my report that I didn't include in this PowerPoint presentation because I felt that in the later parts, I basically talk about it. But in the research portion, I'm supposed to talk about the criteria of an excellent website from the articles that I've read, but I only talk about the demographic in the online market and the demographic of Newegg customer base. So moving to the research, which is a logical transition because you want to know what features, what customers want from Newegg.com. And the only way to figure that out is through research. Finally, I'll be discussing about the tests and the results with looking through the website itself. What can be improved? What did the volunteers find out about Newegg.com, the issues with it, what kind of solutions I offer. And not every possible mistake was discussed in the report. And the reason why is because there's just small details. I pick the most important one, the common one that I got back that people complain about when it comes to the usability of Newegg.com. So about Newegg. Newegg is founded by a man named Fred Chang in 2001. 2001, very early for the internet. The internet does exist at the time. It existed in the 80s for research, but it's very early, so Newegg kind of struggle. Most of the people at this time would probably shop at physical store location rather than online. And you also have to consider how many people who have internet or a computer to begin with. So Newegg is primarily an e-retailer. You won't find a Newegg store on this planet. I'm assuming because that's what e-retailers are. They primarily just sell products online, unless you're talking about Walmart, which sells both online and physically. So its initial business is tech-related stuff. So computers, laptops, computer hardware, software. Some of these things you can't really find at a supercenter or the popular competitors in a local physical market. So something like Best Buy. You walk into Best Buy, there might be computer hardwares like graphics card, but not as much as the selections that Newegg offer. Newegg did grow big time and when the internet started to gain momentum, and as a result, they extended their business to over 80 countries around the world in Europe, Latin America, and the Middle East. And looks like I also forgot one of the continent, by mistake, Asia. So yeah, Asia also. Now, since they begin with the electronic products, they also wanted to expand their business model to other type of categories, such as household products, beauty, and automotive for the non-tech or even female audience. So in 2010, they did that. Now we're going to move to the research portion of the PowerPoint. These are stuff that I searched up. For more information, like I said before, just read the report. So first, general people who will shop online, the people who are familiar with the internet. So people who are Generation X and Y. I have left out the people who are older than Generation X because chances are those people don't use the internet as much as the people today. And anyone who is not part of Generation Y, or probably almost part of Generation Y, I would consider. But those people who are almost, or more like people who are not legally the adult age, I have left out because they legally can't buy a product online with a credit card unless you're an adult. And most of the research is focused on adults since they have a higher economic status. So Generation X, what is Generation X? Generation X are people born from the 60s to 70s, whereas Generation Ys are 80s to the 2000s. Since these are two different generations, you can expect different philosophy, different mindset, different environment, the way they approach the way they view products, the way they view things in the world are in conflict, and you have to take that in consideration when designing a website. For instance, Generation X, they have individualism, skepticism, self-reliance, and strong technical abilities. Strong technical abilities. Generation X want to hear about the product's features. They want people to elaborate. So if your website information page lacks that, they're not going to shop on that page. They don't trust it since they're very skeptical people. And they all believe in individualism. But they buy products that are related to their personality and lifestyle. So if you can find a product that gives enough information that can connect with the personality and lifestyle, then you can have a perfect business with Generation X. Now, keep in mind, this is research, and not everyone in Generation X are this way. I want to make that clear because people think all, when it's not necessarily all. This is generally speaking. Some Generation X might think like Generation Y, or they might even think of things that are not like X or Y. In the case of Generation Y, they are described as confident, optimistic, technologically competent, and strong social abilities. So, Generation Y, they were brought up in the internet age, which is why they're technologically more competent than Generation X. They use the internet more often than Generation X in most cases. They know how phones work. I get in a situation with my dad, who is slightly older than Generation X. They don't know how to use the computer, how to get the printer working, so they gotta ask me. And as for being born in Generation X, that's the result for living in this particular internet age. So they are socially driven, status seeking mentality. That is the thing. When I say that, Generation X being exposed to social media or social networks, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, people have smartphones, they take pictures all the time. Movie stars show off the brands they're wearing, like Nike or Apple, iPhone. Even though it's just a phone, it's a brand. If you see your friends having iPhones, you kind of feel left out, and that's how Generation X are. I mean, not Generation X, Generation Y. They want to be part of the trend. Brand's popularity, regardless of how well the brand performs, how well the product is. If it's popular, people like it, they tend to follow trends. Whereas Generation X, they care about others' opinion about the product, and they're disloyal to brands. So, you can't expect Generation X to be completely loyal to Nike. They might change to Adidas. But the key point when it comes to the website design when studying these two generations is that Generation Y likes trends. So on the homepage, you want to show popular products. Generation X, you better have enough information for Generation X to be persuaded to buy the products. And ultimately, of course, they gotta have the right products to even interest Generation X, which Newegg should consider expanding their business model to get those people into their website. Next up are female shoppers. So why females? Why did I talk about males? Well, I did a research, and it's simple. Males are 6.67 times more likely to shop online than females. So females, the reason why is because females, the product of interest in females, from what I read, is that they like fashion clothing. And in order to shop these type of products. You have to be in a physical store to feel it, wear it, the size of it, and do you like it or not, the quality, the material aspect of the product. Whereas males, they know what they want, they know what to expect in most cases, which is why males shop more often than females. But in this study, one of the big points is that gender has the highest influence on the consumer's decision. So although online shopping inherently can't compete against physical stores when it comes to the materials, you can still improve the website usability and attract female customers. This is asking to expand Newegg. And one of the ways is that giving enough information to the point where it's almost feels like you're shopping in a physical store. So videos of the product, people wearing it, models. So one thing about clothing shopping, which females tend to shop online on clothing more than males, is that these clothing websites, Newegg being different from the clothing website because Newegg is consumer electronics, these clothing websites, the way they approach the design is being attractive and unique. They are user-friendly interface and they have a modern aesthetic. And the biggest one was that the price, because females like to go to different websites and find the competitive price. If the price is obvious, like easy to spot, even if the price isn't that great, they will still continue to shop there because they don't have to click too much, click on this category just to find the product, just to compare price to another website. As a matter of fact, for the sake of convenience, they can just buy that product at a higher price. Just why not? Their loyalty to that particular website. So Newegg can take some things from female shoppers when it comes to thinking of design. Of course, you don't want to transfer Newegg.com to a full-on design of a clothing website because it isn't. But there are just certain qualities that you can balance with. You can like about a website from these clothing design website. So moving along, here's some big numbers: 18.37 to 23.11. Those don't sound that big. Well, the reason why is because that is billion. From 2012 to 2017, the PC hardware industry revenue increased from 18.37 billion to 23.11 billion. That is a growth, and not only that, since I'm using the word B, the billion, that is a lot of money. And like I said, Newegg is primarily electronics, and you can sell a lot of hardware that you can't find at a local physical store. So this is the Newegg demographic. If you want to appease the audience, continue to appease them, you want to design the website to gear to these particular products. And in the case of Newegg, when you go to the top most sold product, it just happens to be gaming related stuff, mainly PC gaming. So technical information is very important. People who buy computers, they want a budget computer. You better have the option to show prices, like filter prices. If people want the best of the best, you want to show filters for reviews, the number of stars, or in this case for Newegg is the number of eggs, or the brand names. And the thing about PC gaming hardware, being a person like me who actually built a computer and likes gaming, is that it's pretty clear that the PC gaming market has a strong influence on Newegg. Because if you look at a motherboard, which is a part of the computer, the marketing team like to stick words like ROG on a motherboard for Asus product, which stands for Republic of Gamers, or maybe EVGA, which is a company that builds manufacture graphics card, and they stick like for the win gaming graphics card. It's just asking to advertise. So if you can point these things out, you can definitely attract more of the PC gaming audience. And that is, like I said, that is the bread and butter of Newegg. Of course, Newegg doesn't just focus on PC gamers. They also focus on people who really need a computer, or they need a powerful computer for number crunching, video editing, production, any sorts. So we're moving to the testing phase. We have a background idea of what Newegg is all about, the demographic we're trying to target, what they expect from the website. This is where I began to test and compare the results and to see, does it really correlate what I want from the research? So I selected 10 individuals who were a first-time user of Newegg. That's very important because somebody who uses Newegg already is considered biased to this test. The goal is to see how well can these volunteers find the list of items that I've selected. And in this case, it's a frying pan, printer, ink cartridge, rice cooker, processor, 2 graphics cards, a gaming monitor, and keyboard. These items are split into two categories. The first three, the pan, ink, and cooker, is household products, and the rest are computer components and peripherals. A few of the volunteers don't know anything about computer components and peripherals, so it's going to be a challenge for them. But the purpose of it was that, can you find these objects that you don't know about on Newegg.com? If you can do it, that is quite the achievement. But the first three are easy because there are products that people are familiar with, and that's just to make sure that Newegg is actually functional for even something basic, because if it doesn't, then what's the point of testing a harder category? So I give them a scenario where it's the holiday season in probably December, and the local stores are just crowded, and you don't want to deal with it. The traffic, just finding the product, because people might buy the product before you get there, so they're sold out. Why not shop online? And you ask a friend, say, is there any website that they can suggest? Probably the first thing that comes to mind is Amazon for them, since that is one of the biggest company out there. But you want to be different. So another friend suggests that, why don't you shop on Newegg? Now, like I said, some of the volunteers don't know the computer stuff, but let's make it hypothetical that you're shopping these computer stuff for a friend, or for your son, for your daughter, for somebody who needs a new graphics card, a new processor. And you know that they've been talking about, you've been eavesdropping on it in a coffee and tea conversation, and why not give them a present? So let's go. Benchmark results. So how do I measure the result? I measure on how long it takes for them the average time for them to complete the two categories, and I have them to rate each of the items, the 8 items, how difficult it was to find it. And ultimately, the important part is to shop normally. I don't want them to think that this is a time test, even though it is a time test, but not for the reason what they think it is, where you're trying to beat someone's time. The goal is normal environment, you're shopping online. If it's taking too long, then obviously there's a problem. If it's really short, then it's reasonable. It's to give you a perspective of how long it takes to use the usability of the website, how well it is for them to find these products. So the first result is the average completion time. And you're not supposed to compare these two numbers. So as expected, the household products are going to do better than the computer components and peripherals. And the answer is simple. The household products, it's familiar. But as expected, I wanted it to be this way, to show that there is a level of difficulty, increase of difficulty. Now, if household products is really bad, like say for instance 15 minutes, then Newegg going to need some serious improvement. But 5 minutes for 3 products, it's really good. Really good scores. Easy enough to find, is moderately difficult for some. But computer products and peripherals is where the test really stresses the usability of Newegg.com. So to really zoom in on understanding these results, I asked them to rate the difficulty of finding each object. And the first 3 from the left are the household products, and they are above 4, so easy. The way the rating works is that if it's a 5, it's easy to find. If it's a 1, which is the lowest number, even though I have a 0, but 1 means that they couldn't find the product. They gave up. A 2 is the product was frustrating to find, but they found it anyways. A 3 is fairly difficult, and a 4 is moderate. You can see that the Intel Core i3, which is a processor, was the most difficult for the people to find, whereas others, maybe like a single fan EVGA GTX 1080. Yeah, this is just to get an idea how fast and how difficult it is to find these products. Now, I want to point out that there were a few people who weren't able to find the Intel Core i3, and it could be for the reason that they're not familiar with the building the computer aspect of the product category. But hey, it's a attempt, and the goal is to first test if Newegg is usable in its current state, and it's clearly usable with the household product. Then challenge each volunteer to find the more difficult products. So I think it's time to take a look at how to improve. So this is the part of the test where I asked them for feedback on the usability of Newegg.com. And The thing is that the first half was time, but the second half I give them the opportunity to just explore, look around, and pick things that they think should be improved. And I have listed them down. I select the ones that are the most important to me. I have disregarded the ones that I think that it's a nitpicky kind of thing that is unnecessary or is not worth the time to fix. But important things, of course, is the ones that you want to focus. So without further ado, I am going to take the opportunity to browse on Newegg.com. And since I'm doing it on the computer, you might as well, because there's a lot of screenshots. I felt that in the presentation form, PowerPoint form, wouldn't be that as engaging or interacting as if I was to browse and point out everything about the problems on Newegg. So hang on tight, because I'm going to put some words into Newegg.com. All right, we're going to start with the homepage. The first issue that I found, or at least the volunteer suggested, is that the trending now is not that great, is not well presented. As in, what is an Apple TV? What is a power strip? What does a RTX 2060 look like? There's no price on here. So trending now is really insignificant in this current state. And like I talked about in the research, Generation Y wants to see the product. They like trending products. And yet when you scroll down, you find the trending now section here. Why is this here? And it's covered by the first appearance of the homepage. When you click on it, it's covered because it's in the middle of the it's almost in the middle of the homepage. This should be moved up and probably replace these three images where it says the new X570 motherboard, the TV right here, and the case right here. That trending now section should be right there, and the trending now links should be removed, because at least this trending now has pictures, it has prices on it, and people are interested in buying these products because they can actually visually look at it. Click on it right away from the homepage and read about it. So that needs to be fixed first. Next thing was that a lot of the volunteers are asking, what's the difference between Shell Shocker, Daily Deals, Spotlight, latest email deals? For a person like me who actually uses Newegg from time to time, I know that these are deals, but I don't know what's the difference between each of these type of deals. They seem to be just deals. So it's too many labels. And not only that, to check, you have to click on this link and read through it. Then you got to click back, and then you got to click on the next type of deal label, and you're looking at printer, power supplies. Okay, so these are the deals. Then you have to go to the Spotlight. It's unnecessary amount of work. So what I would suggest, or at least what the volunteers like, is that they like the name Shell Shocker for the deals type of section, because daily deals, it's very common from other websites. These are common words, but Shell Shocker sounds Neweggy, if I were to put it that way. So what should happen here is that there should be a big label that says Shell Shocker. Then there should be one link that leads to all of the deals, and with the presented objects, these objects are different. There should be, within the Shell Shocker, there should be different labels of the type of product, because this is a case, and that is different from this laptop, which is a different category from this fully built computer, and this is different from the hardware right here. It's just too much things going around here. So that needs to be changed. Now, one more thing. With Generation X, like I said before, these guys are skeptical. They don't buy products right away compared to Generation Y. Generation Y buy products right away because it trends, they like it, they're going to spend it without a second thought. But for Generation X, they might look at a product, think about it, close their computer, turn it off, turn it back in, turn it back on, not in, visit the website again, and then look for that product again. So recently reviewed items might be a good section to add on this website, and you're looking at as well, there's no recently reviewed items. Well, the problem is that it actually exists on the home page, but you have to scroll all the way down to look at the recently viewed items, and that just makes no sense. Absolutely makes no sense. So if someone was interested in a GTX 1080 super clocked, they have to scroll down and click on it and read on it again, think about it again, and then make the purchase. The customer shouldn't scroll down, and some customers probably never scroll down and never realize this feature exists. This should be at the top. In this current format, this current layout, it's actually easier to just type in GTX 1080 Superclock in the search bar than scroll down. So this is already taking up space and is useless. So that is it for just looking at the visuals on the homepage. I'm going to move on to the category menu. Now, the way I label the category menu is that the computer system, components, electronics, all these other names, these labels, these are described as top level. The desktop, laptop, notebooks, gaming laptops, and then these subcategories are described as level 1. And then level 2 is when you open up the box here, the menu here that says desktop computers. That is level 2. So top level, level 1, level 2. First issue you notice right away is that why is the subcategory level 1 desktop computers opening up level 2, which has the same exact name, and they also both lead to the same exact web page. This is repetitive, and well, I mean, it doesn't hurt, but when you think about it, Newegg being one of the biggest companies for being online, you spend all these years and you haven't fixed this issue. This is like not really professional in the eyes of somebody who's trying out this website. Not a functional issue, but it should be an issue that should be fixed sooner or later. Hopefully soon. So yeah, that is the first issue. Now the big issue here is navigation, and that was a big part of my final report. The navigation. So you guys start from left to right. Alright, that's normal for most of the category menus on other e-retailers, but here's the issue. Let's say that I want to go to laptop notebooks and go click on this subcategory. And again, repetitive. See, it's just not that. Not the desktop processors and, well, the computers, right? Desktop computers and desktop computers. Even laptops, notebooks has a repetitive level 2. So I want to get over here. Some of the volunteers suggest that it's kind of hard to navigate because the adjacent subcategory would block the other one. So in this case, if I try to get to laptops and notebooks and I accidentally move my cursor above desktop computers, I can't access that level 1 subcategory in laptops and notebooks because this level 2 subsection is blocking. So that means I had to go put my mouse up, restart, and then cautiously get to laptop and notebooks. Yeah, that is a problem. And there's a simple solution. Since the customer is focused on just the menu, the rest of the homepage is irrelevant at that point. So there's plenty of unused space for the categories, these categories. So what it suggests is that the desktop, laptop, and notebooks, these columns should be spaced out until when the level 2 subsection pops up, it should take up the open space. So it won't block the laptop and notebooks, or the laptop and notebooks level 2 won't block the gaming laptops category. And again, look at that repetition. So that is the suggestion here. You need to use up the space because all of this is not at the focus or the eye point of a customer at this point of the website. So moving along, we're going to talk about the filters. And in this case, I asked the volunteers to search through processors. And the biggest complaint is that there's so many filters, so many of them, especially for the people who don't know what processors are. But like I said, the scenario is that you might want to buy one for somebody who's interested in it as a gift. They just don't know what's going on here. And this can be easily simplified. So what was suggested is that some of these filters like L3, L2, 64-bit, operating frequency, core names, these are specification of the product. And they can all be under a filter tab or a filter, the filter menu, create another filter menu, another level, and name it specification. That's it. And then if the person is just interested in the specification of the processor, they just click on that menu and it'll pop down and it'll show all the core names, operating frequency, and all these information. They shouldn't see the price. They shouldn't see the condition, the manufacturer, just the description, specification of the processor. And the other ones should be in another filter. So that would simplify this entire filter list to probably 3 or 4 if someone wants to use the filter. That is the best way to approach this. Not only that, even if you keep this current layout, the issue here is that they're not even in a logical order. So for instance, if I close this, series, number of cores, CPU socket, core name, operating frequency, in between these filters are price, seller, manufacturer, condition. These are not related, so it kills the flow. They should be grouped up. So number of cores, CPU socket should be together with operating frequency and all the specification. And again, like I said, if you put this under one filter, that will fix the issue. But if you don't want to, at least group them up to be more logical. So that is the issue with the filters. Now I'm going to move on and find the specific product that I tested. One of the specific products is this processor here. And one person pointed out that they had a suggestion that should be done. So when you're looking at something technical, you want to look at a summary and then make the purchase, right? And then if you want more information, you scroll down, you look at all this great information about this Intel i3. One person pointed out that this, which I'm highlighting, the cooling device not included, these type of information should stand out. They should be more pronounced. Because can you imagine buying this product just to find out that it's missing something and it turned out that you didn't notice that it was not supposed to be with the product, which in this case a cooling device? Yeah, it's a hassle to return and tell customer service that you really want to return the product because you didn't expect this, and not that they're thinking that you're lying to them, which is the reality of the retail world because there's people out there who abuse policies. But it's just a hassle, if you just made a mistake saying that, oh, I didn't know this product did not come with the processor. And you won't find out until you open the box, which is a big no-no for a lot of retailers' policy. If it's an open box, it's going to be a lot more difficult to return. So this should be a bigger font, bolded, or a different color, maybe color red, because red is a common color to indicate there is a big detail that you should read before you buy the products. So it's in this case, this does not come with a cooling device, whereas let's type in most of the processors that I have seen do come with a cooling device. So like this one, see, it comes with a Wraith Spy cooler. So if something is common, then you don't have to bold it. But if something is uncommon like that Intel i3, it might be ideal to bold it to reduce the customer's dissatisfaction when it comes to these type of mistakes, because you don't want to ruin your reputation when it comes to customer service. This can all be avoided just with a simple bigger font, different size, and bolded. Next up, the final part of the criticism, in this case it was this product. I asked the volunteers to search for this product, and I also asked them after they search this product to find another product. So the first problem, let's start with this. The first issue is that if someone is talking to you about, for instance, a car, someone's trying to sell you a car. This car is compact, it comes with this much horsepower, but all of a sudden, halfway through the conversation, the same sales associate at that dealership said that, well, you can buy this car, but also you can also buy this other car and this car and that car. And then they go back to talking about the car features again. It kills the flow. It doesn't make any sense. And in this case, the volunteer said that, okay, you read the summary about this product, specification. You want to learn more about it. You want to know the features, the extra features that are not listed here, the reviews, and you scroll down and you find it in this section. But yet, there is a section called Customers Also Bought. That is an issue. That just, it kills the flow. This is solicitation, unnecessary solicitation. This is something that people don't want to see and should be at the bottom. So that is the other suggestion. The final part, the last thing I want to talk about is the options. So going back to the car example, options, when people buy a car, they ask for options, they want to look at it, what does it look like, what is the price. If you look at this, there was a part of my test where I asked them to find a graphics card, the same one, the same brand, but it only has one fan. So when you put your cursor over these options, you don't see it. There's no preview picture, it just says GTX 1080 4-to-Win 2 ICX. There's no price, there's nothing. So this can be improved, because in order to figure out which one is a single fan, the volunteers have to click here, it loads up another page. Oh, that's not it. Maybe this one. Oh, nope, that's not it. And then finally click on the one that was the correct one. So yeah, that can use some improvement. And that is the last thing I want to talk about when it comes to the usability of the website. So aside from that, that is my presentation. I hope you enjoy it. Any questions? Well, since I'm talking to myself to a computer screen in a summer course, I assume there won't be any question. I hope there isn't, because yeah, this is quite a bit of work and my mouth is just running dry. So again, thanks for watching, and I hope you guys enjoy this presentation.